Hello, my name is City2 and welcome back to my Gregtech New Horizons tutorial series. The last episode we ended up crafting the small coal boiler, and that brought us into the steam age. And the goal of this age is to produce some steel, and with that craft a steam turbine, which will allow us to get some Gregtech power. But before we can do that, there are quite a lot of things we need to do to get to that point. So let's go ahead and place down the small coal boiler that we crafted up. And if we take a look at the UI, we'll see three vertical columns. The first one is for steam, the second one is the water, and the third one is the heat level. We go ahead, we can place some water in it, and it goes directly into the water tank. And if we put the charcoal that we are smelting up in the coke oven in, it'll consume one of the charcoal and it'll start heating up. We should see it. There it goes. And once it gets hot enough, it'll start consuming the water and producing steam. The steam will go into that slot in the UI. Now, one of the features of the boilers is if you try to put water in a hot boiler, so if you put charcoal in here, it heats up, and then you put water in it, it's going to explode. So we don't want that to happen, and we don't want the water to run out. Now, an easy way to do that is if you craft up these wooden fluid pipes. They're very easy to craft up, just some wood. And we run it over to the water tank. If we put it on the bottom, it'll automatically output the water into the fluid pipes. We can go ahead and run those along to the boiler. Now, I suggest placing the pipes on the bottom of the boiler because when it produces steam, it'll output steam into any of the top faces except for the front, and it cannot output steam to the bottom, so that'll stop the pipes from getting clogged up. But as we can see, these pipes did not connect, and one of the ways that you can get the pipes to connect is actually, you hold a wrench, you'll see a little grid over it, and each of the grid has a corresponding face of the block. So as we can see, these two blocks are connected, and there's a little X in that spot. So I want these two pipes to connect. So we can right click with it right there and they will connect. It should be filling up with water, and it is producing steam. The other way to get the pipes to connect is if you're holding a pipe, you can just right click on the other pipe and it will connect. So it is good when you're placing pipes down and you don't want them to connect with different fluids and stuff, is just keep that in mind. And now that we're producing some steam, one of the first machines we're going to want to craft up is the steam alloy smelter. We've been combining the copper dust with the tin dust and getting 3 bronze dust. But if we put this in the steam alloy smelter, place that down, and connect it to the coal boiler, and the steam will come out and into there. And we will actually get 4 ingots from those dusts instead of the 3. So we're already improving our yield. So the steam alloy smelter probably be the first one you want to do, because the less materials you use, better. So we'll just wait for that recipe to finish up here, and it will give me the 4 ingots and make kind of a sound. And what that sound is telling us is the output is actually blocked. The steam machines need to release a bit of steam before they can continue on with the next craft. If I break that, you can see the steam escape, and we'll be able to keep using this machine. So all these steam machines will have a gray square, and that needs to be unobstructed. Now, one of the next few machines that we're going to want to craft up is the steam compressor. So we can go ahead and place that down. We'll add it to the line of pipes. Now, the way these Gregtech pipes actually work is the internal buffer tries to output it to each connection that it has. So say it has 200 millibuckets of steam in here, it'll try to output this way and this way. We don't want that to happen because it's not very efficient. We don't want the fluids bouncing back and forth. So what you can actually do is if you mouse over the pipe and shift right click, we'll see a couple bands show up, and basically that is blocking the input from that direction. What you can do is go all the way along the pipe and block the input from that direction, and steam can no longer travel that way. It can only go that way. So it just helps with the flow in the pipes. So we got our compressor here. You're going to throw your iron ingots in there. And the reason for that is because we need blocks of iron for the next machine. And the only way to craft up these iron blocks is to put them in a compressor. There's no manual recipe for that. So we'll compress down that iron. And once we get the materials, we will craft up the forge hammer. And again, we can just put that on the end of our machines here and block the input from that way. And the reason we want to craft up the forge hammer is because the plates that we've been crafting up to make all these machines require 2 ingots for 1 plate. But if you put them in the forge hammer, it'll actually be 3 ingots for 2 plates. I'm actually going to unhook those. The steam is filling up both these inventories, and by the time it gets to the last one, there's actually no steam left. So that's why this one is not running. If I just do that again, it'll kind of reset it and update it. That sound you're getting right now, and if we look on the back and it's not blocked, that actually means it is not getting enough steam. So what we're going to do in that situation, it's going to keep running. It's going to try to run and not get enough steam, and it'll fail and reset. So in order to fix this situation, we're actually going to craft up a soft mallet. And that is just some wood, really easy to craft up, some wooden stick. And basically all you do is right click that machine. It'll turn it off and it won't keep trying to run this machine and failing. And we can let the steam build up, and then we will be able to run the forge hammer. And now that it has got a chance to build up the steam, we'll just right click it again and it shall continue and finally finish the craft. And we will get the 2 bronze plates from the 3 ingots that we put in there instead of the 4 ingots from before. Now the last few machines that you're going to want to craft up is one is the mace raider. That'll let us double our ores. So that's always a great thing to do. It's very slow though. And you do need to find some diamonds for that. So keep an eye out for diamonds, because that is a very good machine to have. Next, we'll need a steam extractor, and that'll let us get some rubber that we'll need to move forward. And you put sticky resin in the extractor, and you'll get raw rubber pulp from that. And last machine you might want to craft up is the steam furnace, and that is basically just a vanilla furnace that runs off steam. And at this point, you've probably crafted up a couple more small coal boilers. And you might have noticed while you're trying to run all your machines that they are struggling on steam. And what you can actually do, and I find this quite helpful, not everyone does, but I like it, is craft up the Railcraft iron tank. And it's just a bunch of iron plates and some screws. Really easy to craft up, you just need some iron. But if we go ahead and place this, it is going to be a 3x3x4, which is the smallest size that you can do. We need to add a couple of valves, so we'll add one here. And what we can do, instead of sending the steam directly to our machines, we can send it into the tank. We just fix this really quick. There we go. So the steam is now going into the tank instead of to the machines. And if we go underneath the multi-block, just like the water tank, if we connect a pipe to it, it'll auto output into the pipe. And then we can run these pipes over to our machines. And basically, that lets you build up a buffer while you are not running the machines. Say you're out mining or anything like that, and you will be able to build up a bit of a buffer, and when you get back, it'll let you run your machines for a bit longer, and it'll probably let all the machines run at the same time, but it will deplete rather fast. So just keep that in mind. So now that you got all your steam machines taken care of, we're going to want to move on to steel. And for steel, you're going to have to craft up a bricked blast furnace. And a couple of the things that you might have difficulty finding is calcite. And calcite is found in a lazulite vein. So keep that in mind when you're exploring. And the other thing that might be a bit difficult to find is gypsum. And that is in a basaltic mineral vein. So keep an eye out for that when you are digging down for your mines as well. Now the bricked blast furnace is pretty easy to craft up. Just going to be another 3x3 structure. It's going to be hollow in the middle. we'll just go ahead and build this up and leave that open on top, and the controller goes right there. Will form, and there we go. And what you're going to do with that is put your iron ingots in and some sort of fuel. In this case, probably is going to be charcoal at this point, but you can also put regular coal or coal coke in it, and it's going to consume some of the charcoal or the coal and one of the iron ingots, and it'll produce a steel ingot. Now, as we can see, this is very slow. So what a lot of people like to do is actually craft up a second blast furnace here, and you can actually add on to this blast furnace and they can share walls. Most Gregtech multi-blocks can actually do that. So if we go ahead and build on to the side of it, like this, it'll actually form like that, and then we can put the charcoal and the iron in there if we want that, and we'll have 2 blast furnaces, and it'll be much cheaper. You're cheaper about 12 blocks, I think, is cheaper. So that is a good idea to share walls like that, and you can actually add 2 more onto the back, so you actually have a 2x2 of blast furnaces. And now that we have some steel ingots, finally, a couple things you might want to look into crafting up is, one is the tool forge from Tinkers, and that just lets you get the 3x3 tools, which is very helpful with all the mining you have to do. And to craft the tool forge, you're going to need some alumite, which is some aluminum, some steel, and some molten obsidian. So not too bad crafting up, but it does require quite a bit of aluminum. But being able to craft the bigger Tinker's tools is super helpful. Another item you can craft up is the watering can, and that just lets you speed up some of the crop growth, your crops, because you might be struggling with food at this point in the game. Another helpful item is the dolly, and that basically just lets you move some of your vanilla chests around without losing any of the items inside. I just find it very helpful. I use a dolly even in super endgame as well. And another thing you might want to craft up is the backpack. It does require a steel ring and some leather, and there are some hotkeys for it, so you might want to check out the hotkeys. And what you can do is actually equip this in a backpack slot, and then when you hit the hotkey, it'll open up a new inventory. So I keep all my tools and everything in there. It is very helpful, and I believe it can be expanded for some more slots. Now, if you want to progress, you're going to want to craft up the flint and steel, which actually requires steel as opposed to just an iron ingot. So now we can go ahead and craft that up, and we can head to the nether. The nether portal is just crafted the vanilla way, so nothing exciting there. But the nether is extremely dangerous. There's lots of infernal mobs there, and just keep an eye out for that when you go to the nether, because it is very dangerous. But what you're going to want to look for is some sulfur ore. And it is found in the nether, and it is found at low height, so 5 to 20. So you want to look down below, and once you find the sulfur ore, you'll be able to craft up the rubber ingots, and you're going to use 1 sulfur, some raw rubber dust, and we'll put that in the alloy smelter, and that'll craft us up some rubber ingots. And with that, you'll finally be able to craft up the electronic circuits. I'm not going to go into the whole recipe here, it is quite involved, but you need rubber, and that is how you craft that up. And with that, you crafted up your electronic circuit, and we can take a look here, and there's different parts and components. And if you just follow the quests, a lot of the quests will kind of point out how to craft these and where to find them, everything like that. So I definitely recommend following the quests, especially in this age. But with that, we will be able to craft up the basic steam turbine. And with that, we'll actually be able to produce a first tier of power, and that is the low voltage tier, or LV. And that will bring us into the next stage. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of direction for this age. It's not a very long age. You can knock through it really quickly if you like, or you can hang out here for much longer and build up a bunch more steel. As I like to progress as fast as possible through the stage and get to producing some turbines, but we will get into that in the next episode. So thanks for watching and have a good one.